Alrighty, my friends, what is going on, everybody? And welcome back here to another live stream on this awesome Friday evening. Hope everyone is doing all right out there. We got ourselves a bit more info on these upcoming winter systems here. The one we're going to be watching out for could bring a lot of snow, for a lot of people, especially for some of those who have not seen snowfall this year. It is looking very possible, in which we are going to be talking about. Let's go ahead and see who is here for today. We have ourselves Crystal Miller. What's up, Crystal? Hope you're doing good. We have Caden. What's up, Caden? We have Zion. We have Steven. We have Rain. We have Chris. What's up, everybody? Hope all of you guys are doing all right. Glad to have you guys here for this evening here. Let's see here. Steven says, hello, everyone, from snowless Leviton, Pennsylvania. Well, glad to have you here, Steven. Let's see more rain for California first week of February. We'll look at that here in a little bit. Let's go ahead and see here. Gregory Keith says, hi, Andrew, my birthday's in 3 days. Well, happy early birthday to you. Hope you're doing good. Emily says, hey, what's up, Emily? Hope you're doing all right. Glad to have you guys here. Hope everyone is doing okay. Let's go and see. We also have Time to Kill. We have Cody. What's up, guys? Hope everyone is doing all right. So I figure we're just going to take a look here really quickly at what's going on here across the nation, just as a good reference of what we are seeing right now. And then obviously what we can expect here down in time. Anyways, now across the northeast, we're seeing a bit of snow shower activity. A bit of remains from that one system that's moved through. You guys are bound to get some more snow. I tell you what, possibly 2 waves of snow coming in for the northeast, so we got to be watching out for that. But yeah, so snow falling through like Pennsylvania, portions of New York State, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts. Obviously, probably going to continue for a lot of tonight into tomorrow morning, so we're going to definitely have to watch out for that there. Across the southeast, for areas here towards like eastern Texas, through Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, we got a little bit of a streak of moisture moving through those regions, a bit of rainfall. Nothing too crazy, but I tell you what, across the southeast here, we actually have ourselves a new risk for severe weather here over the next few days, which I'll go ahead and show you guys here in a moment. We have a little bit of snow, there we go, from the beginning of the system. As we talked about earlier in the video, we're already starting to see this thing kick off here. We have ourselves some snow falling here across portions of eastern Colorado, northeastern New Mexico. Okay, this is going to be moving into Kansas tonight, by the way. So if you're in Kansas, my friends, you got to be expecting some snow. Depends exactly where you're at. Obviously starting to infiltrate portions of the western area now, kind of towards Goodland. Starting to see some active snowfall here right now, kind of towards Highway or Interstate 70. Anyways, but yeah, we're starting to see a bit of that activity start to move in there. And as we're going to see here on the future models, this is going to be tracking towards like eastern Kansas by tomorrow morning, eventually possibly going into like Missouri. And as this thing tracks its way east here, this thing's going to get a big old kick up. We're going to have a lot of rain for the southeast. And then we are going to get a big amount of snowfall potential across the northeast, in which we are going to look at. So anyways, but that's what's going on right now across portions of the country. It's pretty much dry across the west for now, as we are going to see things are going to be changing here. Let's go ahead and see here. Snowing here in Falcon, Colorado. This is Time to Kill. I got you. Let's see here. Sewing says I've been getting mixed forecasts here. Some say snow, some say rain. So some say tomorrow, so some say Sunday. What's up? Okay, so we're going to take a look here at the future radar in order to show you what the next thing is going to be, in which that's, like I said, we're just looking at that right now, the current conditions, that way we can understand what's going to happen here in the future. Anyways, current time here now across the eastern country is now 9 o'clock. We're going to drop down to the previous model because that one's not done loading yet. But anyways, here 9 o'clock, we're going to talk about like right about now. So, like I said, across the northeast, some snow showers going on there. We got ourselves, that low pressure system right here towards Colorado, New Mexico, moving through. Here we go. So we track our way down here in time. So we're obviously kind of here for like 6 a.m., 7 a.m., so sunrise around this point. Snow will be in southeastern Colorado into portions of western Kansas. A bit of rain for areas of Oklahoma, so we're going to track our way down here further in time. Now, for northern stretches of Oklahoma, for you there sewing, you are smack dab on the line between rain and snow. That's why it's so difficult to say either or. But if we're going to be honest with you, I'm going to have to say it's most likely going to be rain. And even if it was snow, it would not stick and it would not do anything too crazy. But eventually, as we track our way in here towards, let's actually go ahead and move that. So here for the 21st being tomorrow, kind of by tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, into the morning of the 22nd, we're going to have a lot of rain starting to move into the southeast here. As you can see, a lot of rainfall occurring. across portions here like Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina area. So we are going to need to watch out for that. Now, that's actually possibly going to turn into maybe some severe storms here. In the video we were talking about earlier, they did not have a risk out, but now they do. And that's got me questioning, and that's got me wondering. Well, we're going to take a look here at the models as well by the end of the live stream in order to determine if that is a big probability and if that's a big concern. So we'll look at that here in a little bit. Anyways, guys, so as we move over here, obviously eastern Kansas, the snow starts to kind of dissipate here for basically the late 21st, so late tomorrow. Then we move into the 22nd. Then we start to get a bit more snow that might start falling here towards like Illinois, Indiana, maybe even towards like Kentucky. Right there, Louisville barely on that. But I tell you what, it's a possibility we could get a little bit of snow there. But look what happens as this thing tracks its way up here to the northeast. We start to get a low pressure system really strengthening across the northeast here, delivering a decent amount of potential, a decent amount of snowfall, towards like Pennsylvania, especially towards like New York State, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. Obviously, potentially kicking off a decent amount of snow. Now, this is not the big one we're talking about. Think of this as the appetizer. The main entree is about to come here in a second, which I'll show you guys. But anyways, yeah, so that's what's going on. You can kind of see that line that forms there. You see that right there? That red and yellow line that's showing a very, very strong cold front moving through. And what that is going to bring is that might bring some severe storms for portions of Georgia and South Carolina, in which we are going to look at. They actually have a risk out now. The Storm Prediction Center has put a risk out for severe weather across some of these areas in the southeast, which we're going to be looking at here in a moment. But anyways, so we're going to go ahead and play this here in motion. That way you guys can kind of take this in here. Like I said, the time is on the top left if you guys want to follow along. It's in Eastern time, by the way. And you can see there, so we start off, low pressure system moves through the central plains. A lot of rain across the southeast starts to kick up, drives its way up towards the Ohio Valley, starts with snow, and all that moisture that's being kicked up here from the Gulf of Mexico will push north and obviously turn into wintry precipitation as the night falls and as the colder air sets in. So obviously that is kind of a concern, except for the northeast. So if you're in portions of like New York State, Vermont, New Hampshire, portions of Maine, I'd even say Massachusetts as a possibility of seeing some snow out of this. We'll definitely see. Now, areas like towards Virginia, you guys are going to mostly remain in the warm air out of this, so I don't expect much of anything to occur for you guys. West Virginia could see maybe a little bit of snowfall, especially on the backlash of here. You can see once this line moves through, you can see how right there at the end frames, how there might be a little bit of snowfall for those upper elevations. It's possible. It's definitely possible. But that's the first system that's moving through. Just once again as a little bit of a reference for you guys. You can see a bunch of moisture drives up. That's going to be fueling all of the snow and all of that precipitation. That is why a low pressure system really kicks off across the northeast, because of all of this warm inflow that comes in from the Gulf of Mexico. That's a very, very important step regarding this upcoming system here. Anyways, but that's kind of what we're talking about here. Let's go ahead and see here. What about Duncan, Oklahoma? They're saying Snow Tuesday. We're going to get to that here right in a second here. Can I show us the snowstorm for the 25th? Yes, I can, and we're going to do that here right now. So first of all, let's go ahead and switch on over here, you guys. We're going to take a look and see what's going on here. Now, things could get pretty interesting here, so let's go ahead and switch over to the models now. Okay, so first up, we're going to take a look here at the GFS. This is the long-range American model. Like I said, guys, we can't just look at one model. So we're going to break this down into a few different models here. The major models being like GFS, the ECMWF, which is a European model, and then obviously we'll look at a few other ones as well. That way we get a lot of mixed opinions, because we want as many opinions as possible. We can't just take one opinion in and expect that to be how it plays out. No, that's not how these models work. You got to take them and blend them together here. So anyway, so we have our first system moving through. Obviously, Kansas possibly getting some snow. This is the one we just talked about, moving its way through the region. Okay, so this is for the 23rd. Now watch this. As we move into the 24th, we start to get more moisture. Starting to fire off across portions here of like northeastern New Mexico, southeastern Colorado, portions here of Panhandle, Texas, and Panhandle, Oklahoma, which is going to be pretty interesting. Low pressure system develops here, and look at that. For a lot of Oklahoma, we could see some snow. And like I said, this is the one system that could end the snow drought for a lot of you guys. For people who have not seen snowfall this year, this could be one of the storms that lets you get it. Anyway, so yeah, snow fires off across portions of Panhandle, Texas, Oklahoma kind of remains south of Kansas for the most part. Maybe northwestern Arkansas could see a bit of winter precipitation. Very, very strong cold front moves through. Very, very strong low pressure system associated with this here. Now, this thing could drive some severe weather. Now, I'm not going to say this right now, or there's no storm prediction reviews on it right now from what I last time looked. But I tell you what, that is a very strong cold front. It would not surprise me if we did get some interaction of some thunderstorm activity in the southeast out of this second system. So we're going to have to watch out for that. We're going to have to continue monitoring that one because obviously it could go either way. So we'll see how that goes. Anyways, but like I said, so yeah, snow for portions of Texas, moving into Oklahoma, northwestern Arkansas, then moving through Missouri here. Maybe southern Iowa could be affected by this here. Then it really starts moving in towards Illinois, Indiana, portions of Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. And then on the back end of the system, it could see a little bit of snow towards like Kentucky. Possibly. It could happen. That's according to one model. Like I said, obviously, that is according to the one model. Like I said, obviously, this all starts off. James says what time frame is this? So right here, you guys can see where my cursor is at. It's right there. You see what I'm looking at? So right there, it shows the 24th. Now, if the values are in under 10, that's basically the early morning, essentially. It goes in universal time, just letting you all know. But anyway, so yeah, it starts here for basically the early 24th. We track our way through kind of the later 24th. Snow's continuing across Oklahoma, Arkansas. Then we track our way down here in time. Obviously here now for the early 25th, snow kicking off here towards Missouri. Towards portions of Indiana, towards portions here of Ohio, tracking further up here for the later kind of afternoon, evening hours here of the 25th, and then obviously the northeast starts to brace for the snow at this point. And then obviously here for the 26th, the early portions, the snow continues to push through, and a lot of the worst of it will be over by the late 26th, possibly the early 27th. But that's kind of what we're talking about. So, anyways, but yeah, so just as a little bit of a quick reference for you guys, this is what we could potentially see. The snow tracking as far down south as northern Texas, moving all the way through Oklahoma. No matter where you're at in Oklahoma, you have a pretty decent shot of seeing some snow out of this. I have to say, I mean, even there's towards like Tulsa, towards Oklahoma City, could see a decent amount of snowfall out of this. Now, we're not going to dive in essentially on how much snow we could see here, but because it's just simply too early. But I will briefly scan over them, and I'll look at them with you guys. But I just want to let you know that it's way too early to tell exactly. But like I said, that cold front moves through. You can see right down there in the south. I mean, this is a very, very strong cold front, which I think severe storms could honestly be possible with this. The warm trending, we're expecting more warmer conditions across the southeast, which obviously with that throws out that thunderstorm threat. Anyways, but regardless, like I said, this is what we're talking about here. So Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New York, Connecticut, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, portions of Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. You guys are really looking like you're potentially going to be seeing a decent amount of snow here. So that's that. Okay, so now we're going to move over here to the European model. Like I said, we really can't just compare it to one. We can't just look at one model, like I said. Let's see. Steven says there's a 15%. They must have just added that since last time I seen that. We'll look at that here in a second. Anyway, so here we go. So here's the European model. We got the first system moving through. We're just going to go ahead and fast forward through that. But here we go. Moving into the early 24th. Start to get some snow firing off here across portions of Texas into portions of Oklahoma. Possibly, now this model is a little bit different. It actually shows a little bit more of a wintry mix towards like southern Oklahoma into northern Texas. Now, if you don't know what a wintry mix is, I'm sure most of you know what it is. It's basically a mixture between sleet and freezing rain, which obviously could lead to ice, which is actually worse in some cases than snow, which is definitely pretty crazy. So the European model does tend to say more of an icy type of, an icy type of event here, starting to kick off across the way. Anyway, so yeah, still moving through Oklahoma, still possibly even including portions here of Kansas, western Arkansas, portions here of Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio. Now this one's actually showing this kind of moving into Kentucky too, as you can see, for like northern Kentucky potentially showing this, which is definitely a little interesting. So maybe a little bit more further south. Portions of northern Virginia, maybe even seeing a bit of wintry mix according to this model here, moving into portions of like Ohio, like I said. Probably starting out as snow for once, and then once you get in that warm air, it starts to turn into rainfall. But then northeast here, like I said, obviously, then that starts to change here up to the northeast, bringing that heavy snowfall. So overall, I mean, the two models we just looked at here, between the European and the GFS model, they are they're on a good track. They definitely are on a decent agreement here. And like I said, the only major separation between the European model and the GFS, the American model and the European model, is the fact the European model does support a lot more ice across portions of the south. Once again, like I said, towards central, southern Oklahoma, northern portions here of Texas. That's kind of where we are seeing more of an ice threat, according to the European model here. So we'll have to watch out for that. We'll see how things do play out here with the further, like I said, play out here with the further. With the further models and stuff like that comes out here. Now, just as a control, I'm going to take a look here at one more model here. This is the GDPS model. Now, this is the long-range Canadian model. And if you know Canadians, they know there's snow. But unfortunately, or that does not really equivalent to models. That's just me kind of joking around there. Anyways, but yeah, so we look at the Canadian model here, the GDPS model, and look at that. Obviously showing the snow, actually maybe moving a little bit more north than comparing to what the GFS and the ECMWF has to say here. This one has a lot of different opinions here, actually showing the snow maybe a little bit more higher north, and in the bottom of the snow a little bit more higher north as well. So just kind of isolated towards the panhandle of Texas, not necessarily for the Dallas region, moving here towards Oklahoma, Kansas, moving up here even in portions of Nebraska possibly, Iowa, Missouri, portions here of Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, portions of Michigan. This one shows that low pressure system a lot more arced higher north compared to what both the American and the European models had to say. And now, one thing to point out here is that the GDPS, or the Canadian model, talks a lot of potential ice across the Ohio Valley. Now, none of the models prior to that, like I said, the main models are GFS and ECMWF. Those have a much better reputation than this model. So I'm going to have to go with the GFS's and the, obviously the GFS's and the Europeans' perspective on this, and showing that it's probably unlikely as of now, at least from what we're seeing, that this will be a factor. So it's just what one model tends to show here. Anyways, but yeah, we track away further down in time. Yeah, that low pressure system arced so much more higher to the north comparing to the other major models here. Obviously, still showing some snow here for the northeast, but it might get cut off towards the coastlines due to warm air advection. Obviously, we have that low pressure system there, and all this warm air coming up here from the Gulf of Mexico, where it's obviously warmer, turns that precipitation type from snow into rain. So obviously, that's kind of the question here, is where the position of this low pressure system will be located. Now, obviously, here's the deal. So if this low pressure system tracks further south, that obviously means more snow for the south. Now, if it tracks further north, it means more snow for the north here. Now, just as a little bit of a representation and something I want to show you guys that's pretty interesting here, we're going to switch back here to the GFS here for one small second. We're going to let this one system move through, and here we go. So we actually start off here. We're going to set our low pressure system right smack dab there. We're going to kind of connect some dots here to show you kind of where this low pressure system is going to be according to each model. So as a reference, the yellow is the GFS model. This one has that tracking kind of on a line like this for the most part. We'll go ahead and let this go up through here and reaching up to northern Maine. So obviously that's kind of what we're talking about. So you can kind of see there, if we go ahead and connect the dots, that is roughly the track that the GFS model is showing of that central low pressure. Obviously right there of that central state there. Now we're going to move into the European model. We're going to mark this one as blue. Okay, so we track our way down here in time. We got that one first system moving through, no big deal. This one's honestly, yeah, actually you can see that there a little bit more lower down to the south. Obviously that low pressure system a little bit more arc to the south. Obviously, a lot more further to the south than what it looks like here for a lot of it. Then obviously after that, it kind of tracks and goes a little bit more north compared to what the GFS model had to say here. And then kicks off here to the east, so basically one here. So if we connect all those dots together, we're going to go ahead and do that such right now. You can kind of see how it has a weird tendency, because they actually cross each other according to each of the models. So a little bit interesting. Like I said, that line, that area of low pressure, that line of low pressure really matters in this scenario. It could mean snow or not snow for a lot of people. So that's why we're doing this. That's why we're really diving into this. And just as a reference, again, we'll take pink for example on the GDPS model here. Like I said, this one's a lot different. It doesn't look like it at first, but it seriously is a lot more different here, and showing that low pressure system diving so much more higher north than comparing to what the compare what the other major models had to say here, which is a little bit interesting. You see how that tracks a lot more further steep up to the north. And that would obviously throw less snow for the Ohio Valley and more snow for up north, such as possibly Wisconsin, possibly for the upper state of Michigan, Michigan itself, obviously those areas there. So that's kind of what we're looking at. So that's kind of what the models are showing, guys. I just wanted to go ahead and break this down for you. We're going to do it again. We're going to break it down here in a little bit again. But first, I want to go ahead and show you all. We're going to switch on back here, back to the current radar here for 1 second while I switch over to a different scene. I want to take a look at the southeast, kind of regarding some of these models here. So I want to see what's going on here. We're going to switch on back here to the southeast. So when it comes to activity here, when it comes to activity and stuff like that, first of all, we get all this moisture, all this rain kicking up here. By the way, this is the GFS model. Don't think I mentioned that beforehand. There we go. We're going to line that up too. Anyways, but yeah. Then we get that one, there you go, there's a big cold front that moves through. So this is basically from hour 93 to hour 117. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to pull up the energy in the atmosphere. So like I said, this is basically the requirements that's needed for thunderstorms in general to fire off here. So if there's no energy, then there's no thunderstorm potential. If there's energy, yeah, we got, depending on how much, we got a possibility. So out of this first system, as you can see, like I said, they already put a severe weather risk here for for the areas here far in the southeast regarding, like I said, basically regarding, activity here. Obviously with thunderstorm potential and everything like that. But we track our way down here further in time. So that's obviously here for like the, obviously here, we're going to zoom out a little bit more on that one right there. So that's basically here for the 22nd. We track our way further down in time here for obviously, portions here a little bit further for like the 25th. And you can see kind of really just scraping the coastline there. There might be enough energy to allow for thunderstorm activity to occur. Some areas actually exceeding over 1,000 joules per kilogram of energy, which I'm not explaining to you guys exactly what that means, but just know that 1,000 is enough, far more than enough. That far enough energy that's needed for thunderstorms. If it's under 500, no, I really don't call for it. I mean, for this time of the year anyways, under 500, nothing really too bad. But yeah, we might have a little bit, as of now, the instability according to the American model seems to be a little low, kind of more isolated towards maybe towards, maybe even eastern Texas, actually. You can barely see that, but there's a little bit there. Eastern Texas, mostly Louisiana, southern Mississippi, southern Alabama, maybe the panhandle of Florida, and then moving through here into central Florida possibly. So, we'll see. We'll definitely see how that goes out here. Let's go ahead and see if we're going to zoom out here. I know what's going on here. Hold up. I got to go ahead and fix this, you guys. There we go. Okay, so now we got this thing to match up here. Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, you can see here for portions of eastern Texas how it kind of shows that, and then moving into portions of Florida too, which could be a possibility. So, anyways, but that's that. The dew points here, like I said, we measure this in the overall, the moisture supply here at the surface. It has to be in the 60s or typically at least the upper 50s. If not, then it's kind of a little iffy. But I tell you what, though, we do have those. We have those moisture there. We have that moisture content here in the 60s. Obviously kind of isolated towards the Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama area. Really kicks up across the coastal across the east coastal regions. Obviously throwing out the moisture possibilities. Anyways, but that's there. We have the energy in the atmosphere. We have the overall instability. Now, the next thing I'm concerned about is if there was going to be a threat for tornadoes. From what it looks like, wow, that is ridiculous. Okay, so that is actually kind of concerning. We have a very strong lower level jet here. This is at 850 millibars, which is only a couple thousand feet up in the air. So pretty close to the ground, but look at that. Those winds are screaming, absolutely screaming to the north here. 70, 80 knots of northerlies here towards the surface. Holy cow. So what that means is that could drive tornado potential. That could seriously be a major concern for tornadoes. If that does play out to what this model is saying, now I'm not saying it will, but if it did play out to this environment, that would be quite nasty. Perhaps large tornadoes, long track tornadoes, if that plays out there. Very concerning, and that's something I really don't like to see there. Towards the mid-levels of the atmosphere, pretty strong winds here, really amplifying kind of to the northeast here. When comparing that to the, towards the surface, you can see how much of a difference in the wind direction. So you have a wind directional change starting up here for the north and changing, northeast. That is throwing us that possibility there of some rotation, some spinning, or what we call supercells, some rotating thunderstorms. That is very nuts, which really has gotten my eye on that. It's a big old shortwave trough. You can see how it's detached there from the axis, but that is absolutely crazy to look at. Very, very strong. Now, we're going to see if that plays out. We'll keep an eye on it. Now, while we're on the topic, though, I do want to switch up to the European model because I know this website I use for most of everything does have a look here on severe weather here. So we're going to switch over here to the southeast. We're going to take a look at a different website here. So anyways, so for the southeast here, we're going to take a look here, first of all, at that energy I was talking about. First system moves through, maybe, just enough to allow for some thunderstorms. Here's the interesting part. Okay, so according to the European model, this actually does not really show as much energy compared to what the GFS had to say. So between the two, between your American and your GFS model, honestly, that energy that's required for thunderstorms to form does not drive its way up as far north as, obviously, a normal severe weather event would, which is good, which kind of keeps that severe limit kind of more isolated towards the coast, which is meaning less people being affected, in theory. But like I said, that could definitely still change. I mean, this is still about 4 or 5 days out, so that could definitely still go either way. But anyways, it's just kind of interesting to see here how that works. But with that being said, what I'm really concerned about, what I want to look at, is those winds. Like I said, when we looked at the GFS, we were showing near 70, 80 knots. Holy cow! Oh my God, dude, that is ridiculous. 70, 80 knots northerlies. Oh, we better hope that instability does not meet up with this. Oh my God. Okay, that is something a weather person just never wants to see here. Holy cow. Dude, that photograph. Here, let me show you all something. I'm going to try to, there you go. You see how it, okay, so this is basically a vertical look from straight up to straight down, how the wind direction changes, and you can see that big turn. That is rotation. That can obviously lead to some rotating supercells. That is, holy cow, that lower level profile. Dude, that's actually very concerning. I hate to say that, but that's really got me worried if that plays out. Holy cow, yeah, like I said, if you guys know weather and if you know models and stuff, if you see northerlies of around 70 to 80 knots, that's really bad. But like I said, luckily, I mean, at least according to some of these models here, the energy does not really reach that high, up to that environment. Now, for example, if all of this was up here further in the southeast and all those winds were there, that would, I'd hate to say it, but that'd likely be a tornado outbreak. The winds support a tornado outbreak. We'll just put it at that. So the winds towards the ground, maybe a couple thousand feet from the ground, and the winds in the middle portion of the thunderstorm, that supports a tornado outbreak, potentially. I mean, like I said, I'm not here to say that like crazy, but no, I mean, seriously, what the models are showing us, I mean, here's the GFS one too, showing 70, near 80 knots of winds. That's equivalent to near, let's see here, 80 knots is probably about nearly 90 miles an hour. So that's winds here a couple thousand feet screaming north at 90 miles an hour. Only a couple thousand feet up, which is definitely interesting. Is Georgia getting snow? No. No, Georgia's not going to be getting any snow recently or anytime soon. But that's really got me a bit on edge. So I'm going to keep you all informed of that situation. Like I said, that could seriously be bringing some big problems if that does play out here. Let's see, does GDPS talk about this? Oh, okay, so GDPS does show... Wow, okay, so that's not just one model talking this. This is now the GDPS saying 70 knots as well. Holy cow, okay, so like I said, that screams at me. That screams tornado potential and like large tornadoes. If I wouldn't see how With this amount of strong moisture, okay, with this amount of strong winds screaming north, I would not be surprised if we get a lot more energy kicking up north. Because the energy showing it far down south is like the coastal, the coastal empire here of the Gulf. If it really shows like that strong of winds between multiple models, I would seriously think that could pull up so much more energy. Basically like a vacuum, sucking all of that moisture to the north, which would be available for thunderstorms. That's kind of what I'm thinking. That is a very, very nasty storm here. So we'll see. We'll definitely see how that does pop out here. Yeah, big old trough, right there with that. Holy cow. Yeah, pretty crazy. Now I'm getting very concerned about spring. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how things play out. Like I said, the climatology models we were looking at earlier on yesterday's live stream was showing more storms towards the south, for like February and later on. Like I said, we are still in a La Nina, which does support a lot more, theoretically, more storms across like the Ohio Valley and stuff like that. We're going to really, apparently, according to models, we're going to start to really feel La Nina here in the next month. That's what the models are saying. So it obviously depends on multiple factors, but anyways, yeah, that's definitely a bit concerning here, my friends. So we're gonna have to definitely be on the lookout for that. But anyways, we're gonna go and switch back here to the winter side of things here just for a little bit. Like I said, to talk about what's going on with this big winter system. Like I said, we're obviously watching out for the U.S. here, obviously regarding heavy snow. Yeah, there's that big old trough that happens there. Holy cow. Oh, no, that's the one right there. Look at that. Big old... This one shows it connected into a very long wave trough. How the jet stream goes like that. Which is interesting. But anyway, so we're going to go ahead and switch on over here to the winter weather side of things. Like I said, we actually have two storm systems that's moving through here. And, the one that's giving me the concern of severe weather and possible tornado event... that's going to be the second one that could drive a heck of a lot of snow, too, which we're going to look at. So first of all, anyway, so we're looking here at the GFS model, which is the long-range American model. A little bit more about that. It's the long-range American model here. You guys can see the time up there where my cursor is at. See where I'm moving it up here. You can see how it says 2023, which is obviously the year. 1 January 20th, which is January 20th. 18Z kind of showing towards the afternoon, evening hours. So obviously the higher the number, it only goes up to 24, which obviously, or it actually doesn't go up to 24. It goes up to a high of 21, but cuts out at 24, basically. It's 0. But the lower the number, closer to 0, obviously the more early it is, basically. But anyway, so we track our way down here in time. Like I said, we have the first system moving through. A bit of snow for the northeast can be expected. I'd say about 4 to 8 inches, what the major forecast does seem to be. But when we look here at the GFS model, like I said, here's the beginning of a pretty nasty system happening here. Like I said, if you know anyone here towards Oklahoma and northern Texas, you got a chance. You got a shot at some snow, according to multiple models here. Multiple models supporting this. So we track our way down in time. Like I said, obviously here for the 24th, you guys can see up there for like the early 24th, we're going to get some heavy snow that's going to start falling here across portions of the panhandle of Texas and the panhandle of Oklahoma. Obviously, maybe even some rainfall towards central Texas here we're going to have to watch out for. We track our way down here further, so now we're moving in towards like the afternoon, evening hours here of the 24th. Snow still kicking across portions of northern Texas into Oklahoma, portions here of northwestern Arkansas even, eventually moving in towards Missouri. Potentially a lot of heavy snow could be moving in towards Missouri. I mean, we're talking several inches per hour, possibly, according to some of the rates that this model is supporting here. Obviously, there's that cold front. There's the big severe weather, the big severe weather chance I was telling you guys about with the screaming northerlies of like 70, 80 knots, which is just absolutely crazy. But like I said, we track our way down here in time. Like I said, obviously here towards like northern Texas, Oklahoma, maybe eastern Kansas, even northwestern Arkansas, cutting straight through Missouri here, towards Illinois, towards Indiana, towards Ohio, maybe even up as high north as Michigan. Portions of the Northeast, including Pennsylvania, maybe New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. Those states has got to be on the lookout. And now, once this storm moves through, once that cold air starts backing in from the north, some of that precipitation kind of wraps around too, which might cause some snow because it's interacting with that cold air, and plus there's still some precipitation in the atmosphere. That might actually allow for maybe some snow towards like Kentucky. So the first part of the system, it might not play out as snow, but as the system moves through, the back end could produce maybe, I'd say, some snow showers rather than continuous snowfall. According to this model, like I said, this is just what this model has to say. I'm just explaining the opinion of this GFS model here, and then everything moves through. So that's that. So once again, just a quick little look at it. Starts off here on basically the early 24th, snow falling across Oklahoma, Texas, moving through Arkansas, Missouri for kind of the later 24th, early 25th here, tracking up here through the Midwest, Ohio Valley, moving up into the Northeast here. So that's kind of what we are seeing here. So that is what we are looking at. That is definitely what we are seeing here. Anyways, but we're going to go ahead and switch on over here to the European model, because like I said, we can't just look at one model. We got to get all the opinions here. We got to take multiple opinions here to obviously rule out the differences and compare the similarities here. So when we take a look here at the European model, we got the first system moving through, obviously maybe some snow from the Northeast, once again 4 to 8 inches for some of the areas. We'll get that more here in a minute. But anyways, like I said, we got some big stuff happening here once again for the early 24th. Now this is the European model, really starting to kick off here for the early 24th for areas here of the Panhandle of Texas, moving in through Oklahoma. So at this point, yeah, it's looking very possible that areas in Oklahoma, no matter where you're really at, it's looking very, actually, kind of likely that areas here in Oklahoma and northern Texas will see snow here for the early 24th, moving in through the 25th. But now this one shows a little bit of a difference compared to what we just looked at on the GFS. You notice how there's a lot more purple here? Now that is showing winter mix. That's kind of obviously, between snow, sleet, and freezing rain. So obviously with freezing rain, there's a big ice concern, same thing with sleet. So that, the European model does support maybe some more icy conditions, towards like northern Texas and the portions of Oklahoma. Could be a big possibility here. That's like one of the major differences when comparing the American GFS to the European, obviously the European ECMWF model. Like I said, we're looking at the European model right now. Anyway, so we track our way down in time, still for portions of northern Arkansas, still showing some snow. Same thing for portions of Missouri. Now, this one's a little different, also in the fact of actually showing the snow maybe getting down as far down south as northern Kentucky, possibly towards the Louisville area. Could see maybe a winter mix to actual snowfall, maybe heavy snowfall towards those regions. But anyways, like I said, here through the 25th, obviously we're going to have some snow moving through Missouri, portions of Illinois, portions of Indiana. Like I said, this model supports northern Kentucky, northern Arkansas as well. Switching on over here later, even down into further 25th here. Obviously, maybe even moving up more into portions of Michigan even. Potentially more towards Michigan here. Then obviously here for the Northeast, this would really start to kick off some heavy snowfall as well. So overall, the main idea is, the main point is here of this of these models, the main point is here for the 24th. Okay, so basically for the early 24th, a lot of snow is going to start falling for Texas and Oklahoma. This is going to track its way up here basically to the Northeast, obviously delivering some snow for these states. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say, if you guys are anywhere across these states, this is where you potentially could see some snow. So if you're in northern Texas, if you're in Oklahoma, if you're in northern and northwestern Arkansas, portions here of eastern Kansas, if you're in Missouri, portions here of Illinois, maybe northern Kentucky, portions of Indiana, portions here of Michigan, Ohio, here for Pennsylvania, here for New York State, northern New Jersey, here for like Massachusetts, here's for Massachusetts, there for Connecticut, there for Rhode Island, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. Those are the major states. Those are the main states that is going to be likely impacted according to what these models have to say when it comes to the winter weather here. So obviously these areas has got to be watching out, or it really has got to be watching out for a lot of this here. So we'll definitely keep an eye on it. Like I said, big snow could be a result. Now, like I said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a look at the accumulations, but let me go ahead and give you all a disclaimer. This will in fact change by some degree by the time this event gets here. Now, do not get your hopes up compared to what one model has to say, okay? Just saying here, do not get your hopes up for what you're about to see, okay? Just as a brief look of what the models are saying now, so we can compare it tomorrow. Anyway, so here we go. So we're going to switch over here to, back here to the GFS, which we are now, but we're going to take a look here at the total snowfall accumulation for 24-hour intervals. or intervals, I should say. So first, the first system moves through, as you can see, maybe delivering 4 to 8 inches here for even portions of western Kansas. You can actually see out of this first system, which is moving through right now, or getting ready to be. Moving through the northeast here, kind of the same thing. Some areas here maybe 4 to 8 inches, yeah, so on from that. But look at this. According to the GFS model, there is a possibility that snow totals here towards Oklahoma might reach over a foot easily. Once again, don't trust that, because that will likely change. I don't want to get this engraved in your guys' heads, being, oh my God, over a foot of snow is going to happen? Let's go ahead and prepare. You should prepare, but don't expect that much. As of yet, things are still going to be flip-flopping around here. Anyways, but yeah, for Panhandle, Texas, Panhandle, Oklahoma, through a lot of central Oklahoma, even towards like Tulsa and Oklahoma City, over a foot could be likely here. Or I wouldn't say likely, I'd say possible, according to this model. But this tracks its way up here to the north, obviously, or the northeast here, maybe over a foot for central Missouri too. Obviously kicking up across the northeast, kind of eventually moving into like southeastern Michigan here as well, and everything like that. But once again, like I said, this is just to look at it. Once again, this is not, do not take this seriously, but get an idea of what we potentially could see out of this. I mean, this is about 4 or 5 days out, so things can still definitely change. But like I said, according to, from what we're seeing here, the European model does support maybe about a foot of snow for some of these areas here. Northern Texas, obviously for the Panhandle of Texas, portions here towards central Oklahoma, and even portions here of central Missouri. Could see maybe over a foot, according to the American GFS. Now, here's what we're going to do now. So now, since we looked at the American model, we need to take a look at the GFS. Or sorry, that was the GFS. We're going to look here at the European. This is the ECMWF model. So we track our way down in time. We have the first system rolling through, but here we go. Second system rolls through. Now, this one, honestly, according to this model, there is still some areas here towards like the Panhandle of Texas, maybe a little further south, that could show maybe over a foot or near a foot of snow. But not as aggressive as what the GFS had to say. Not even showing it for Oklahoma or Missouri. And that just shows you how much of a broad difference there is when comparing it here towards the American and the European. There's still a big difference here. And obviously here across the northeast, you're kind of showing the same thing. So anyways, but that's what we're looking at. Now there's one more model I'm here to surprise you guys with. This is the National Weather Service blend of models. Now this takes mixed opinions. This grabs a whole bunch of models, blends them together, averages out snowfall, comparing to what each model has to say, and giving the best shot of what we can see as of now. But anyway, so this is total here. So obviously, here's the thing. Here's the crazy part. This model does not even show any more than 6 inches really happening. So you see how the lowest, or like I said, this model showing about 6 inches, while the GFS was showing well over a foot. See what I mean? And that's a good example of why we should not trust any snow totals this far out, because this will certainly change. Like I said, this will definitely, certainly change here. So we'll keep that on the table. We'll keep on watching out for it. We'll take a look here at the, obviously the GDPS model, which is the Canadian model. This one moving through. We're going to take a look at the 24-hour intervals here. The second system moves through. Yeah, honestly though, the GDPS model, the Canadian model does support potentially over a foot across some localized areas through Oklahoma, and into portions here towards Missouri even. So it's there. It's possible. So we'll just keep that on the books, and I'll leave you guys informed with obviously the snow potential and everything like that. Like I said, we have a big shot for possible severe storms across the south out of this, and we have a big shot for decent amount of snow here across the country. Once again, like I said, so here's the final verdict. Here is the overall view. Now, you guys want to listen up to this. Once again, seriously, if you guys are across these areas, this is where you need to watch out for winter weather. If you're across portions of northern Texas, including the Panhandle, possibly including towards the Dallas region, mostly just north of it though, you could see some snowfall. So here, basically in northern Texas, portions here of Oklahoma, pretty much a lot of Oklahoma shows snowfall out of this system here. So watch out for that. Obviously, moving in through northwestern Arkansas, maybe the northern and the western stretch could see it. Not so much for the southeastern side of the state, kind of remains off for the most part. Moving straight through Missouri, through a lot of Missouri here, straight through portions of Illinois, Indiana, maybe northern Kentucky. The European model supports it, the GFS does not. So that's the differences. Through Ohio, through Pennsylvania, through northern New Jersey, through a lot of New York State, through portions here of Connecticut, through Rhode Island, through Massachusetts, through Vermont, through New Hampshire, and through Maine. Those are the areas that are likely going to see some snow out of this event. Like I said, as far down south as northern Texas, as far up north as Maine. So that is kind of what we're looking at here. So hopefully that helped you guys out. Like I said, regarding the timing, once again, the system starts on the early 24th across portions here of Texas, moves through the 25th here towards the Midwest, and moves through the 26th here towards the Northeast. So for a little bit of a time, thing for you guys, like I said, we have, for the 24th, starting down here, it moves up here to the 25th, and moving up here to the 26th. That's kind of a timing for the snow here, roughly. Like I said, obviously just kind of a time here. So obviously, for the 24th, moving through Texas, the 25th, moving through like the Midwest, Tennessee, Ohio Valley regions, then moving up to the Northeast on the 26th. Got it? So that's kind of what we're talking about with timing here, because I know a lot of people are probably wondering exactly what can I see with the timing and stuff like that. So that's what we're looking at. But once again, like I said, this could seriously bring a nasty amount of snowfall. Like I said, the GFS is quite aggressive on the snowfall totals here. But once again, it's still the early portions of the models talking about snow. And like I said, with that being said, do not trust these accumulations right now, because they are far from accurate at the moment. Now, once this event gets about 2 days out, that's when things get a little bit more understandable. That's when things get a little bit more trustworthy. Even about a day out is obviously kind of the best moment. On the day of, not particularly. So it's pretty much basically the day before the event happens is where we have the best idea of what we could see. Like I said, we'll keep y'all informed. Just make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, turn on post notifications. That way, if we do go live, which we do every night, we try to anyways, if we do go live and we talk about this, we will let you know what we can expect here. But anyways, my friends, well, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up here for now. If you have any final questions, feel free to throw them down in chat. Like I said, I'm here for you guys. I want y'all's input on this. What do y'all think is going to happen? What are you guys worried about? Like I said, what are you guys questioning about? If you have a specific question, like I said, let me know. Like I said, let me know, okay? So we'll definitely see how things goes here. But once again, like I said, if you have any questions at all regarding this event here, hey, please let me know. We got you covered. Like I said, I'll just thank you for joining us. Greatly appreciate it. You guys absolutely rock. Love all of you guys out there. Just please stay safe out there with this. Like I said, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, with the possibility of severe weather across the south. But right now, we're mostly focused on that winter weather because the severe weather is still a little uncertain. The winds are there, though, to support I hate to say this, but the winds are there to support a possible tornado event. Perhaps a big possible outbreak. Like I said, regarding the winds alone, with the strong northerlies of around 70, 80 knots, and the northeasterlies here across the mid-levels of the atmosphere screaming at around 70 knots, which is pretty crazy. So overall, the winds are there, but the energy is not, per se, which we'll see how that happens. Honestly, we'll see how that plays out. And obviously, if there's any updates, if there's any breaking information that comes through, we'll let you know. I've been trying to do more of shorts. I've been trying to do more of short little videos for you guys and stuff like that. Theodore says, am I using WSV3? Yes, this is WSV3. I have a whole bunch of programs I use. I also have Radar Omega right here. Yeah, I got a bunch of programs I use on this channel. It's crazy. I've used so many of them. I got this one right here. This is actually here's a fun fact. This program here and all of these ones here on the far right, this is the same program, but this is actually ran by the National Weather Service. This is what they use to issue forecasts, and this is the program they do that with. Obviously, I don't have licensing to actually do that because I'm not a National Weather Service employee, but yeah, this is the program they use, which is pretty crazy. But all right, my friends, well, I think that's going to wrap it up. It seems like you guys have a pretty good understanding on what we could see out of this event here. Once again, thank you all so much for joining us. Once again, if you are new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button. It'd be greatly appreciated. You guys absolutely rock. Like I said, I love y'all. I want you guys to be safe out there. We'll keep you guys informed here with the overall weather and stuff like that. We'll make sure you guys are ready to go to make sure that you guys are informed and everything like that. But once again, everybody, if you're not already, hit that subscribe button. It'd be greatly appreciated. You guys absolutely rock. And we'll give you guys more information here for tomorrow regarding this event. Alrighty, guys, we'll switch on over here to the off screen here for now. We'll catch you guys here sometime tomorrow night. Got a busy day tomorrow, so I'm not sure exactly what time I'm going to be live here. So we'll figure all that out. But I do plan on going live for you guys at some point in order to share the word of what we could see here down in time. All right, my friends, once again, thank you all so much for joining us. Let's see here. Megan says thank you. No problem. April says thanks. No problem, you guys. Absolutely. That's the least I could do for y'all. Absolutely. Got you guys covered. All right, my friends, once again, thank you all so much for joining us. The stream's going to head off here in approximately 3 minutes. So if you have anything you want to say to your friends and family who might just be lingering in chat, feel free to say your final goodbyes for tonight's stream. All right, my friends, once again, thank you all so much for joining. And stay safe out there, my friends. And we'll keep you all informed. And we'll see you guys here in the next one. Peace out, my friends. See you tomorrow.
Clinton, 53 at Dallas, Fort Worth, and 50 at Oklahoma City. Once again at 8 p.m. at Lawton, it was cloudy. The temperature was 50. The following is your hazardous weather outlook. This hazardous weather outlook is for portions of northern, western, central, and southern Oklahoma and western North Texas. Day 1 through tonight, no hazardous weather is expected. Days 2 through 7, Saturday through Thursday, winter weather. A period of snowfall is expected across far northwest Oklahoma during the day on Saturday. Minor accumulations of less than 1 inch are possible. Another chance of wintry precipitation is possible on Monday into Tuesday across much of Oklahoma. Generally, light snowfall accumulations are possible widespread, while areas further west and northwest could see locally higher amounts. Get graphics and more details at weather.gov/Norman and follow our weather forecast office on Twitter and Facebook. From the Norman Forecast Office, here is the forecast for Lawton and surrounding area. Rest of tonight, mostly clear until midnight, then becoming mostly cloudy. Lows around 40. Southeast winds 5 to 10 miles an hour with gusts up to 20 miles an hour. Saturday, mostly cloudy with showers likely in the morning, then mostly sunny in the afternoon. Highs in the upper 50s. Southeast winds 10 to 15 miles an hour, becoming southwest in the afternoon. Chance of rain 60%. Saturday night, partly cloudy. Cold with lows in the lower 30s. Northwest winds 15 to 20 miles an hour with gusts up to 30 miles an hour. Sunday, sunny. Highs around 50. Northwest winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. Sunday night, mostly clear until midnight, then becoming partly cloudy. Cold with lows in the lower 30s. Southeast winds 10 to 15 miles an hour. Monday, partly sunny. Highs in the mid-50s. Monday night, cloudy. A slight chance of rain until midnight, then a chance of rain after midnight. Lows in the mid-30s. Chance of rain 50%. Tuesday, rain likely. Cooler with highs in the lower 40s. Chance of rain 70%. Tuesday night, mostly cloudy with a chance of snow with a slight chance of rain until midnight, then mostly clear after midnight. Cold with lows in the mid-20s. Chance of precipitation 30%.